What's up, guys? I was thinking about this and it was making me laugh so hard. So I thought, you know what? Let's just walk and record a quick little blog. Maybe I'll just stand here and make a little vlog. A DO, aka Doctor of Osteopathy, is basically a medical doctor, but he or she has a little bit more of a specialty in what's called osteopathy, which is kind of an understanding about the whole body and how it all comes together from a joint muscle perspective. Now, there's always a little rivalry between traditional doctors, aka MDs, and DOs, doctors of osteopathies, because the MDs think the few years of training after medical school that the DOs get is kind of useless. And then the DOs think the medical doctors are a little bit more close-minded. So with all of this in mind, I currently have a DO. Now, the context behind this story is that a lot of you know, I was asked many years ago to give my thoughts on the nofap, F-A-P movement. And back then I didn't really understand it and I sort of criticized it. So in 2020, I started just giving it a shot, really giving it a shot, like consciously giving it a shot, not accidentally. And I realized, wow, it seems to have some benefits, man. And so I've been on this journey. Journey's the wrong word, man. Journey implies that it's something I think about often. It's not, but it's something I do. I guess so. It's a habit. Let's call it a habit. I've been on this habit for quite a few years. And last year is when I switched to a DO as a doctor. So I said, if there's one person that might be able to give me some insights, it's going to be this doctor, this DO, this doctor of osteopathy. So shout out Julie. She's a good doctor. She's very open-minded. On top of it, she's a very conversational doctor. She's not one of those doctors that talks down to you. On top of that, she also has a son that's about to go to college, I believe. So I thought, okay, if there's one doctor that really might understand where people come from when it comes to the nofap movement, it would be her, because again, she's got a son that just went through the teenage years. So I basically first explained to her what this is, and at first I don't use the word FAP. I don't use the word, I use the traditional M word associated with it. Somewhere along the line, I also explained to her what nofap means. And so then I start talking about it. I start asking her questions, you know, certain practices that a lot of people who are involved, they kind of do to circulate their sexual energy and stuff like that. And then somewhere along the line, she suddenly stops the conversation and she's like, wait, I'm confused. She goes, Jerry, wait, are you talking about no fat, F-A-T, no fat, as in you're on a no fat diet? And I'm like, wait, no. The whole time when I switched over to the term no fat, you thought I was talking about no fat. And then I had to explain to her, I'm like, no fap. She's like, where does that term come from? And that surprised me, because any guy has heard of the term fap, right? And so I had to explain to this doctor where the slang came from. For those of you who don't know, who are not English speakers in the West, basically it's the sound that sort of gets made if someone is stroking that area down there fast. I'm not going to go into more detail because I'm trying to stay on YouTube's good side. And then I had to explain to her, I'm like, hasn't your son ever talked to you about this? It's just like, no. So, you know, I learned a lot of lessons that day talking to my doctor about this topic, which is that even doctors that I consider open-minded, who, you know, might be more into holistic stuff, most of them have not heard of nofap. And on top of that, they don't really talk to their teenage sons about stuff that they probably should talk about. So she obviously didn't know anything. And I was so surprised, because you would think, let's say out of 100 people, I would say 1 or 2 people, so like 1 to 2% of the population has at least heard, if not tried, some of the stuff advocated by the nofap movement. So I was really surprised. But then I thought about it. I'm like, even if it's 1 to 2%, how many people shit with their doctors, right? There's not this level of trust that a lot of people have towards their doctors. So knowing that she didn't know and never had people that have asked her about anything related to retaining your sexual energy, so to speak, I couldn't really ask her anything related to the health benefits. The only thing, because she's a doctor and she's a DO, I could only ask her about sort of, okay, if I'm massaging certain areas of my body, let's say to loosen some tension or to circulate some blood flow or etc., is there anything wrong with it? Is there anything I need to watch out for? So that was the only thing I can really ask her. And of course, the stuff that I was doing, none of it was objectionable. So a lot of this reflection goes back to what we've been talking about for many years. You would think stuff like this would be covered by the medical establishment about science. You know, this is an important part of life from very ancient times, both in China and in India. I've not studied Native American cultures. I've not studied Aboriginal cultures or African cultures. I don't know if there's talk about this too in those historical times, but in ancient Chinese cultures and in ancient Indian cultures, they've talked about anything related to retaining your sexual energy, aka nofap, etc. So it's not like it's some new agey type of thing that evolved, but somehow it's never really been seriously studied. All this is just more evidence that there's a lack of support for certain issues that men face. A lot of you know, for example, the funding for prostate cancer research compared to breast cancer research. And just, we've talked about a lot of this stuff in the past. I'm not going to go over it because, again, a lot of this stuff is mainstream now. So there's other channels that talk about this better. Even just this little issue of me asking my doctor about nofap and asking her about things related to sexual energy retention, and she having no idea, to the fact that even though I defined the term for her, she still got confused because it's her first time hearing the term. So she forgot what the term meant and she thought I was saying no fat. So I don't know why I was thinking about this today, but I was just, I know what I was doing. So I was going through some of the comments and taking out some objectionable stuff that, you know, could get this channel taken down. I know it's unfair, but it's something I just have to do because that's just what the world is. I was reading a lot of stuff that reminded me of this because, as you guys know, I made a video. Actually, I made quite a few videos, but the only one that I made that I monetized was the one in 2017, or actually it was late 2016. Late 2017, where I was talking about the nofap stuff. And then if anyone's still there from that time, I just want to let you guys know, I really take back what I said about nofap. It's a beautiful thing to try. If any of you get the courage to talk to your doctors about this, let me know what they say. Let me know if they even have heard of it or they even have thought about it. And then I'm really curious, for those of you, whether you know doctors or you are a doctor, how many of you talk to your teenagers about some of this stuff, this sexual energy retention stuff, about anything related to this stuff? There's just a dearth. A dearth means a scarcity, a lack. There's a dearth of conversation related to this stuff. And I think that's one of the antidotes, okay? That's one of the antidotes to getting our society to kind of stop being addicted to a lot of things. The word rhymes with corn, to get our society stop getting addicted to corn and other things that just drain the mind. Moving forward, I'm going to talk a lot more about nofap, but then again, I have to just figure out how to talk about it without getting the channel in trouble. But I see a lot of people talk about nofap, and it seems to be okay if you just talk about nofap. You don't talk about anything else that gets a little too edgy. So I'm definitely going to talk about that, just because it's, I wouldn't call it life-changing, but it's definitely something that I've noticed positive benefits. And then moving forward, these longer rants I actually do enjoy. A lot of you really enjoyed the dating show stuff, and that kind of pop social science, as I called it, I just don't want to do anymore. I really liked where this channel was when I first got started, when I got, let's say, the first 7,000 subscribers, where I just kind of talked academically, sort of like a dude who studies a lot and who sits with you in a bar and just talks, right? That's kind of where this channel was. And then it suddenly got this boost when I started doing those dating show reviews. But I only thought of that type of video as a one-off. When it got viral, okay, let's do more. But the thing is, I never thought about those videos as the things that would drive my intellectual curiosity and passion, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to figure out other things to talk about that I can talk about forever, basically. And I'll keep you guys posted. But as you guys can tell from, there's a bee that's right near me. I'm going to slowly get up. As you guys can tell from my recent upload, I've gotten inspired again slowly. So we will see where this inspiration will take me. And for those of you who stuck around for so long, really appreciate it. And for those of you who want some of the stuff that I probably won't deliver, feel free to unsubscribe, because it actually helps the algorithm if my subscribers want to see my stuff instead of they see my stuff and they don't click on it, right? That actually hurts my channel. So anyone that wants to follow the stuff that, let's say, I won't talk about anymore, there's other channels. There's lots of other channels that have talked about it and are still talking about it, because a lot of stuff we talked about back in the day, it's gone mainstream. So there's a lot more coverage of it, and I don't find the need to talk about it anymore. So anyways, that's it, man. There's a train going by, so my audio is probably going to get messed up. So we'll talk again soon, man. Thank you, guys.